We were just talking earlier about marriage and who recently has got married, and actually I think marriage is actually, the statistics of marriage have halved, I think. Yeah. Do you think marriage is irrelevant? Is this why why aren't men getting married?
Well, the bottom line is it's a raw deal. For men, it's a really raw deal. The benefits are heavily outweighed by the dangers and the risks. If you're a man and you divorce, the outcome usually favours women massively. You can end up losing your home, half of your pension, half of your wealth. You can end up not seeing your children. And studies have shown that men are more adversely mentally affected by divorce than women. So, and there's also a lot less support network in place.
You also say that if a woman gets pregnant for a career choice, and I think that you have used the words that women do get pregnant for career choices, that's what they want to do, that if you were the guy and that you didn't approve or you didn't okay that pregnancy, then you, and you use a term, I didn't like it actually when I read it, it was just like financial abortion, I think you say. Well, I didn't like that, but what that means is that you can say, right, okay, I had nothing to do with this, I didn't ask for it, you've surprised me with it, therefore I've got nothing to do with it, I won't support it.
Well, what I was really saying is I was mooting that as like a hypothetical point to illustrate the fact that when it comes to power, although the illusion is that men have all the power, actually when it comes to kind of personal relationships and relationships between the sexes, women have most of the power.
Well, that's true as well, but obviously babies are made by two people, so shouldn't men just use contraception?
Just man up. Well, unfortunately, you know, women have the lion's share of contraceptive choices, and once a woman is pregnant, of course, the man has no say.
Gotcha, bitch!
If a woman gets pregnant, she has the final say whether the baby will be born or not. A man plays no part in this, as he can't force the woman to have an abortion if she wants to have a baby. Women are the gatekeepers when it comes to giving birth or terminating pregnancy.
And yet the consequences for his life are lifelong and huge. They have a huge impact.
That's true, but if he'd taken precautions in the first place, he wouldn't have a baby. So don't men have to just use their brains rather than what's in their pants?
Absolutely. And look, don't get me wrong, there are plenty of reckless men and plenty of responsible women out there. And of course, not all women get pregnant as a career choice. That was a sample of the study that I was quoting. But, you know, there are instances, look at Liz Jones at the Daily Mail. She famously stole the sperm from her husband's condom. She violated his choice about fatherhood, and that could have changed his life forever.
Gotcha, bitch!
Have you been hurt?
What a fucking mangina. Seriously, someone grabbed that cunt by the pussy.
No, I'm not.
What is it? What started this off? Is this a big revenge trip?
No, not at all. Look, this is just about me being a young man in the modern world. After 50 years of feminism, I am one of the products of that. And, you know, I have 3 wonderful sisters who I love, and my mother I have a great relationship with, my parents are still together. So my personal experience of marriage, you know, is wonderful. But for me, as a young man entering into that, politically, it's just not viable.
So you would never get married?
No. Well, I would do if the laws changed. If I was protected in equal measure to, you know, perhaps the woman I'd marry, then I would consider it. But at the moment, I mean, let's be honest, marriage is a contract. It's a business deal. And I wouldn't enter into any contract without reading the terms and conditions and being aware of the risks.
But some guys don't want to settle down.
Well, it turns out men just don't want to tie the knot, and I guess it's our fault. That's according to a controversial new book called Stand By Your Manhood, a game changer for modern men.
Joining us right now to offer her perspective for this debate, the author who is defending his book, Peter Lloyd, and developmental psychologist, Dr. Cooper Lawrence. Welcome to both of you. First, all right, Mr. Author, you've gotten us into a lot of trouble. What are women doing to men to make them not want to get married?
It's all right. I feel pretty safe. We have an Atlantic Ocean between us, so I feel pretty safe here that I can discuss it without...
There are people there who can beat you up.
Yeah, I can imagine.
What do you base that on,
I can imagine.
Peter?
But look, I always say marriage is the fraud of the rings if you're a man. It's a wonderful institution if you're a woman because it safeguards you in so many ways. But generally, when marriages go wrong, as they frequently do, they generally fall in the favour of women. This is true in both America and in the UK. And let's be honest here, it's a contract. It's a legally binding contract, and it serves men not at all. So absolutely, men need to be wise to it and avoid it at all costs.
Peter,
Gotcha,
do
bitch.
you blame feminism?
I think there is a certain strand of feminism which has prioritised the safeguarding of women over men, even though we're all supposed to be equal. And I think what's happened is that now we live in a society where we're told men can't view women as sex. but women can view men as success objects, and that needs to change.
I'm going to bring in Dr. Cooper Lawrence here.
Okay, no, first of all, I mean, I have to go with the research. I mean, I think a lot of what Peter talks about is very anecdotal, but what the research shows is that women feel the same way. It's not just men. It's not like men are the ones who are deciding, you know, marriage isn't for me and women are trying to trap me. You know, the latest research shows that women feel the same way, and between the ages of 18 and 30, the emerging adults, they're less likely to want to get married at all. There was a Pew study done recently. 25% of millennials just never want to get married at all. That's women and men, and the majority are also women. So the idea that men are being trapped by women is ridiculous.
No, you dumb idiot. Women are riding the cock carousel from 16 to 35, jumping from penis to penis, hoping to meet the man of their dreams who drives Lamborghini, lives in a waterfront mansion, has a 30-inch cock, and can cook, clean and kiss the ground she walks on, and last but not least, he will want kids when the woman is ready, at 40. Thanks, but fuck off.
Do you believe that women are to blame here? And do you believe that men should be running from marriage when it comes to families? Let's not think. A lot of marriages include children, and we've seen the benefits of marriage as it pertains to kids.
You know, it's funny. Ask Men did this study recently, and they asked men, they asked 20,000 men, do you want to get married? 95% said absolutely. Marriage is definitely in my long-term plan.
Can someone please grab her by the pussy and make it stop?
But the research is showing that men are getting married later, that women are getting married later, that people are getting married later. So I think what Peter's talking about might be people in their 20s and 30s,
Peter,
but once you get older.
Right. Peter, you're focused on
Can
divorce.
someone please
When
grab
divorce
her by the
happens,
pussy?
Your research shows men get screwed. They lose half of what they have. They can't see their kids in a lot of cases.
Yeah, absolutely. It happens all the time. And this is after, don't forget, this is after 50 years of so-called, you know, equality drive from feminism. If feminism was such an equality movement, and don't get me wrong, it's done some wonderful things, but if it was such an equality movement, why would it allow fathers to be so disenfranchised from families? Why would it even allow the very existence of alimony, which is such an old-fashioned concept? I'm sorry, the very basis of equality is that men don't need to subsidise women because they're independent and they can pay for their own lives and fund their own lives.
We actually talked about this on my radio show last night, and I was really surprised how many men and how many women called and said, you know, I don't want money for the rest of my life. I want to be able to make my own money. And they don't. Well, if you gave up your life for a man and decided to have children and be home and you don't have a career, that's very different. But most of the women that called my radio show had their own lives and their own careers, and they were the ones that were being asked to pay alimony.
And child support.
Well, child support, I think everybody should pay. I mean, child support's important.
Yeah.
We're talking about alimony.
Absolutely.
Free money for a succession of years.
All right, Dr. Cooper Lawrence here in the United States, and Peter Lloyd, the author of the new controversial book, Stand By Your Manhood.